Hey, everybody, welcome to Rebuild and Rise. Yes, that is the new channel name. This is Donna's Doing It, and I am so excited to have you guys here tonight. I have a fabulous guest here from California. His name is Brandon Wetzler. He's going to talk all about some cool stuff that has to do with therapy. He's going to talk as a licensed marriage and family therapist. You guys, you're in the chat. Please put your comments and questions down there so Brandon, can answer those. But before we get started tonight, I'm going to put a little food for thought out there like I always do, because I want you guys to be thinking about these things as we're talking this evening. Tonight, we're going to cut through the bullshit. Okay, so, because that's how we always talk around here. I want to ask you something, and I want you to sit with it. I don't want you to deflect it or justify it or sugarcoat it. Is the woman you're with capable of growing with you? Or is she stuck in a pattern of competition and control? Is she just with you for the prize package? Okay. Is she there for the money because it's comfortable? I want you to be thinking about those questions, because the truth is a lot of you are out here confusing attachment with alignment. You've got a woman who wants access to your world and your wallet, but she doesn't want to grow inside of it. And she wants your protection, but she disrespects your leadership. She wants your love, but she treats you like she's in a chess match, not a partnership. So, food for thought tonight. I want you guys to be thinking about that as we move forward this evening. Again, it's not growth if you're stuck in a relationship with a female that is not a partner. So, it's all about not what you bring to the table. It's about how you two are a unity, a growing unit together. That's the most important part. And if you're still craving peace, sir, then maybe it's time to ditch the old Cadillac. All right. If that engine isn't running well and you've taken it to the mechanic 1,000 times and it's still not working, then that's something that you have to solve. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring Brandon on tonight. Brandon is again, I said he's a licensed marriage and family therapist in California. He works with divorced dads. He works with trauma and PTSD. He does sometimes work with couples. I'm going to let him talk more about that himself. And everybody, let's go ahead and welcome Brandon to Donna's Doing It. Hey, Brandon.
Hello. Hi, Donna. Thank you so much for having me.
Glad to have you here tonight. We're going to do a lot of chit-chatting and talking, and I'm sure you've seen the show, so you kind of know our methodologies here. But I want you to please take a moment and go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody and kind of tell them a little bit about who you are.
Sure. I'm Brandon Wetzler. As you said, I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist in California. I have worked with divorced dads, doing some coaching too. And a lot of my practice currently, I'm work with people who have trauma, PTSD, and I also do couples therapy too. Although I will say that in a lot of cases it's futile work, but there are times where both people are willing to respect each other and make a relationship work, make a marriage work. So yeah, I have been through personally my own breakups, divorce, a lot of life experience, a lot of stuff from my past too, upbringing, PTSD, all that. So I come into all of this with a lot of stuff I've been through that's informed my life, and that's pretty much. And now here I am. I'm very excited to be on your show here, and I love your content.
Thank you.
It's really great.
I try not to beat around the bush too much, because
I've noticed.
I don't know about you, but I don't have a whole lot of time to waste on bullshit. So, if you're gonna come into a relationship, especially for men who are stuck because they have blinders on and they have a tendency to not see the red flags that are sort of swirling around them, and it's like, I want to just like shake them and go, look, dude,
Yeah. Yeah.
Snap out of it. Like Cher said in that movie, what was it? Moonstruck? When she slapped Nicolas Cage across the face and said, snap out of it. That's kind of what
Yeah.
I want to do sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it's not, we need a voice like that. If I can say just a few things I noticed about you and your channel and how you go about communicating your message and your response. It's really nice to see that someone like you is obviously you're an experienced, wiser woman, and you are advocating for men to be men. You know, you like helping them embrace their masculine energy that's innate and helping them live it out. Especially, I like how you are helping men embrace the idea of them stepping into their own power, because I
mhm,
think in this world, like you said, you're cutting through the bullshit, but you know what you're hearing in movies, mainstream media, social media is men need to be listening more. Men need to be more sensitive. Men have to be careful to everything that they say,
yeah,
and it's just so hard to be yourself. So, um, and a lot of times I don't even think men know what that means. They don't. They're so removed from who they need to be, who they actually are, that they can't recognize it. And so I like that you're here. You're affirming not that it's just okay for a man to be a man, but also that it's needed. It's a good thing. It's necessary in the world. And you're encouraging men. And so I just love that I'm able to help and support people like you that doing that.
thank
So
you. It's
yeah,
so important. We've society's been delivering this message to men for so long that they have to acquiesce to everything. They're always wrong. You
right,
have to
right.
happy wife, happy life, and all of this other BS. And it's like,
Oh yeah,
I saw a post on a meme on social media today. It said, happy king, happy kingdom. And I went,
mm-hmm.
whoa, you know, nobody talks about the
Different.
king anymore. Everybody's always talking about the queen and how she should have her ass kissed. And it's like, well, you know
Yes.
what? Back in my day, and I'm a lot older than you, when we were growing up, mom stayed home and raised us kids, and dad went to work every day and brought home the paycheck. And mom did a great job we were a family. We knew what
Yeah.
it was like to have somebody at home all day long. When we went to school and came home, our mom was there. She baked the cookies. I mean, yeah, it was
Yeah.
old school traditional, but that stuff has been so trashed and slashed in favor of OF, girls performing in front of a camera and, this immediate gratification society and swipe, swipe, swipe. And in that process, Ender, hey, thanks for being here. It's so good to see you, my friend. And in that process, men have just been basically told,
Mhm.
shut up and sit in the corner, just bring the paycheck in and give me my money. And that's not
Right.
acceptable, and men are, gosh, I saw a video today of a mom holding a little guy, a young guy. He was probably a year or two old. And dad is the engineer conductor on the train, on a regular real train. And the
Yeah.
train was coming by the house and he was tooting the horn a special way just for the family.
Yeah.
And the little guy realized that it was his dad driving the train. He lost his shit. It was the coolest thing ever. And it's like, this is
Yeah.
what we
That's
need.
awesome.
We need boys to see that dads are dads and they are men and they do cool things, and it's okay to be a man in your full masculinity. And I just
Absolutely.
that struck me. And then my son, of course, went through his own. Everybody knows my son's story. I'm not going to beat the bush around that one, but
Yeah.
you watch somebody that you love basically get destroyed by some bullshit female who doesn't even have her own shit together and who
Yeah.
is coming into the relationship emotionally damaged,
Yeah.
visiting her damage on him. Out, out. Sorry, my dog's in the kitchen.
Yeah.
She's not supposed
Yeah.
to be. And then they visit that on the relationship with your family member, and then you watch them get destroyed. And my son is like every other man, and I found this to be so true. And you tell me if I'm
Mhm.
wrong.
Sure.
Men, when they say they love a woman, they truly do love her.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
fake.
That's interesting. I was listening to someone talk about that. Then, when it comes to love, men are more idealistic, and I think that's true. Once men get past, like, okay, you have to be attractive, obviously. There has to be, you have to be attraction. There has to be some kind of, like, you're not crazy, you're a responsible person and stuff like that. But then once you get past that, I think men are more idealistic when it comes to love, you know.
Yeah.
Um oops.
Yeah, turn the volume down on your phone, I think
Can
it
you hear
is.
me
I didn't
still?
get that. Could you try again?
See.
Siri's talking to you. I think you have to have I usually turn the volume all the way down on my phone if I have it on there, but I'll keep going here. Anyway, thank you guys for being here tonight. Hey, can you
There
guys
you
in
go.
chat
All
give
right.
me a thumbs up if you can hear everything okay, and make sure the sound is good and the audio is good, sound and audio and video. Give me a thumbs up, everybody. Those of you that are here, I greatly appreciate it. That way I know I'm doing a good job. And Brandon can be heard
Yeah.
clearly. I want to make sure that everyone can hear him. So we got some thumbs up coming in. Thank you, Thea. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
Thank
if you click the wrong button on here, then on my MacBook, it's like Siri comes up and starts talking to you, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on here?
Well, tell her to fix the whole issue with men and all this stuff.
Right?
I'm just kidding. I also
Yeah.
found out day before yesterday. Did you know that ChatGPT lies to you?
Yeah, I think there's a bias to it. I've seen on a couple of prompts I give it that it has a more liberal, feminine skew to it. I'll just put it that way to make it general. But yes, I have noticed that. Um, so, anyways, what I was saying, I think men view love more idealistically and not realistically. We want to believe that women will love us as we are, for who we are, and I just don't. I just doubt that. Um, that's not something that it sounds nice and romantic, but realistically, it just doesn't happen, though. Like, because if you're a man, you need to be a leader. You need to have your shit in order, so to speak. You need to have a frame. Um, a good woman will want a man that has that stuff out together, and they'll want to know, like, you're a person that matters in the world, that has value. Heard some people say you make a dent in the world, stuff like that. So yeah, it's unfortunate because like, you watch movies and stuff, and that reinforces and social media, the idea that there is a romanticism to love. And I'm not saying there's none at all, but I think men watch that and they think, oh yeah, okay. Like, they end up loving each other and growing old together, and it's nice. And nope, that
Well,
just doesn't.
unfortunately, he comes in with an honest heart, and she comes in with a agenda.
Mhm.
So, her agenda is to find a man, get married, make babies, and that's her retirement plan. And, my son's ex did the same thing to him. She tried to, you're going to
Yeah.
go to Jacksonville, you're going to reenlist in the Navy, and we're going to have babies, and then we're going to go live on a compound in Alabama with my family. And it's like,
Right.
excuse me, does he get a say in any of this, or is this just what your plan is? And so that, I think that factors into it a lot too. Do you have a follower named RH Max?
I do. What's up, Max?
He's here.
Max, what's up, buddy?
So, yeah, I wanted to also ask you a little bit about the marriage therapist part of it, because to
Sure.
me, I have participated in therapy a couple of times throughout my life. And again, you probably know this, I'm 63, so I've been on the planet a while. And in
Yeah.
that aspect, the few times that I did use therapy, I found it helpful. But here's what I disliked about it. What I disliked about it was that there was never a solution. There was always a come back and I'll give you this next week and come back. And I get it. I mean, there's a monetary gain involved with that rescheduling and all that good stuff. I
Right.
understand that
Right.
part of it. But
Right.
with a coach, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, you correct me, change it, whatever you want to do. I feel
Sure.
like coaching, you can give them a list. Okay, we do A, B, C, and D by next week. And then when they come back next week, okay, did you accomplish those? Cool. Here's D, E, and F. And then at
Yeah.
some point, there's an end game to that. Do you feel that way? Or tell me about you a little bit about your marriage therapy.
Yeah. Well, you're right as far as the industry and this is one of the issues I have. When I got into it, speaking of idealistic, that was me. And now when people go to therapy, it's a lot of, like you said, there's the therapist will reflect back. Oh, you're feeling this, you're saying this, you're doing this, but and that's okay sometimes for especially for people who have complex trauma. Their upbringing's been really hard and they've gone through some severe violations, we'll say that, and they need that, and they need the affirmation just to kind of build up a self at all. But when it comes to couples therapy, there needs to be more guidance and actionable steps to help both of them take. And it's not good typically the result of therapy.
Sorry about that.
No, it's okay. A lot of times when coming in, that they're already toward the end, and there's really no, they've already decided this isn't going to work out. And so a lot of them look at therapy as like the last ditch effort to make things work. And once for the therapist, once you're in that position, it's like, well, there's, like I'm like the Hail Mary basically. And
Right.
typically that doesn't work. And also too, I think men and women communicate and listen differently. And that's not something that as a therapist you really get taught. You kind of get taught like everyone is equal, because again, we're in the society where men and women are equal, and there's not supposed to be one who's the leader or one who has power or supposed to make decisions, and all. Everyone's supposed to be equal on equal plane, equal footing. And so we need to treat communication on an equal level, but men and women just don't communicate and listen the same way. And so
Well,
it
I
doesn't.
find that fascinating. I don't understand how people can think that men and women are equal. Do you feel that that's even a remote possibility?
The way I view it is, as far as men and women are equal in value, like, because my background, like I'm a Christian, so I believe in God. I believe all people are created with, as a special, precious creature of God that God loves. So, but that equality is not the same as that. We're the same in how our value is expressed in the world. Like the value, like men, they can't have babies. They can't be pregnant. As much as the world wants to tell us it's possible, no, it can't happen. But
Sorry.
women have a special place and a special value there. They're holding a child in their womb, and they get to have a special relationship with that child. Whereas men, that they don't, that's not the value they have. Their value is in being leaders, going and hunting and gathering, protecting, finding food, providing resources. So they're different in value, they're not equal. I guess they're not equal in that value. Like we bring different things, but
Mhm.
in the end, yeah, we're all humans. We don't like, at least ideally, we're not supposed to um, treat men and women differently when it comes to the law and stuff like that. Like you commit a crime, it doesn't matter who you are, you should have the same punishment. You know, what gender, doesn't matter what gender. You murder somebody, it shouldn't matter what gender you are. You should have the same punishment, you know.
Right.
Now I know that doesn't happen, but that's how I feel it should be, though. If that makes
Right.
sense.
Right. It does. It does. And I always, I equate this to nature. I always go back to nature. If it weren't for male, female, none of this would be here. I mean, literally none of the insects of society, none of the, the birds, none of this would be here if it weren't for that dynamic of male female interaction. And this
Yeah.
and the whole diluting down of men and trying to get everybody to be the same is
Yes.
the problem. That is where the problem lies. I mean, I'm sorry, you're right. Men are protectors. It is ingrained in them that they come to the table and they want to protect and provide. And if a woman's job is to nurture and to raise and to do all
Yeah.
the things that keep the home moving forward. And I
Yeah.
just, I go back to, I don't know if my son is listening tonight. If you are, Dylan, good to see you. But I go back to his girlfriend calling me one time on the phone and trashing him, over the phone to me. And I'm
Jeez.
like, you're calling me and you're trashing my son to me.
Yeah.
And hey, Green Journey, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, someone from another channel. Yay. um, I get so excited when I see people that I recognize from other channels. That's exciting. But yeah, don't call somebody's mom and throw that
Yeah.
person under the bus with your, his whole complaint was, he's paying all the bills. He's paying for all the food. He's paying for the cars. He's paying for, he's paying for everything. And
Yeah.
she's, working part-time at a bar and
Uh,
he's not allowed to go out and drink, but she works in a bar. And
yeah.
then, I bring money to the table too. And it's like, okay, oh my God, how much do you bring in? $300 a month. The mortgage is $2,000, sister. Yeah, the mortgage is $2,000. You bring
That's
in
hardly
$300,
anything. Yeah.
and he
Yeah.
comes home and the laundry's up to his waist and the sink
Yeah.
is full of dishes and there's no food on the table. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I mean, and those are just
What was her complaint about him?
that he was complaining about her not doing her part, not carrying her load.
Oh, so she's complaining that he was complaining about her.
Yeah, she was,
Yeah.
he's complaining that I don't bring in enough money. And I just told her, I said, well, you don't. And if you don't,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've been there, I've been in, his father and I were in a relationship, obviously, and
Yeah.
I didn't work. So when I was at home, the house was spotless. The laundry was done. The boys'
Yeah.
room was clean. The
Right.
bathroom was spotless. You couldn't eat off the floor, but you could eat off the floor. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
when the man was coming home at a certain time, dinner was on the table or it was in the pan, hot and ready to be eaten.
Yeah.
Because I understood the dynamic of what I did and didn't bring to the table. And
Right. See, the value is complementary there. That's how it should.
Exactly. And that's the missing piece. We don't complement each other anymore. Not only do we not complement each other in the physical sense, we don't complement each other in the verbal sense.
Yeah.
A man would, someone told me, well, actually it was George. George, I don't know if you're here tonight. I hope you are. But George told me, he goes, a man doesn't want to be told I love you. He wants to be told he's respected. And
Yeah.
absolutely, I agree. I can say I love you all day long. Those are words.
Yeah.
But if I show you the respect that you have earned and that you deserve, that's a completely different ballgame.
Yes.
In
That's
my
absolutely true. Yeah. No, men want respect or need respect. And yeah, being told you're loved is fine too. That's also nice. But I think it comes down to respect, and that comes with kind of some of the stuff that you were suggesting for his your son's girlfriend, like make him food, have food ready when he's home, have the
Yeah,
place be cleaned up. It's okay if you don't make as much money, but complement by working in other ways to provide him value, you know,
exactly.
like
It
have
has,
sex with him,
it's a
do
give.
things that he matters to him.
Yeah, exactly. Green Journey, can you do, if you can, please, if you don't mind posting in the chat, did you come from Blanche's channel? I'm just curious because I love Blanche. I think that's where I saw you. I'm not positive, but I just wanted to check in and see, because if that's the case, I'm going to recommend Blanche's channel here, because he is Blanchard, has a channel on YouTube as well. I knew it. I knew I'd seen you over there. So thank you so much for being here tonight. And Blanche says a lot of the same things. He brings in the ethnicity part of it, but he falls under the same umbrella that we do, in that those relationships are complementary to each other. And we
Yeah.
have forgotten that piece. We have forgotten how to be working together, letting the man be the man, but
Yeah.
encouraging the man to be the man. Stop slapping him down and telling him, you're in
Right.
charge. I'm in charge of this house.
Yeah.
No, it's not your show. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think honestly, I think that's the piece that is very difficult for a lot of women to understand if they're out there, that there's something about the power of that that is a real issue for them, that they have a real hard time accepting that. And in some ways it's perceived, because women do have a lot of power. It's not like, they're submitting themselves to anything and anybody, and like they don't have any say in their situation.
Right.
But you know if you don't let a man embrace his own power, you don't let him lead, you don't let him protect, you don't let him guide and have the frame, then it's like you're having two CEOs, and that doesn't work, because somebody has to make, in the end, a decision. And do you ever, if you ever followed, have you ever followed football before, the NFL or anything?
The NFL football team? I mean,
Yeah,
teams?
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was
In general,
an NFL fan for a
there
long time.
there
And
there
DEI.
was there was this okay, yeah, there was this coach years ago named Bill Parcells. I don't
I
know
know
if you
Bill.
remember.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
One of his famous lines was, you can't have two or more too many cooks in the kitchen. And his point was, hey, I'm the coach, so let me make the decisions on personnel or on the plays or whatever it was. And that's kind of how it is in a relationship. You can't have two cooks in the kitchen. You got to let one person cook, and the other person can set the table or do something different. Um,
Well, and I think too, and I've heard you mention this a couple of times, and so I'd like you to give a more descriptive explanation. You've
sure.
talked about frame, and I know that I picked up a lot about frame from George Bruno and also from Rollo Tomasi. But what is your concept and your perspective when it comes to frame?
It's actually evolving too. So it could change. I have the right to change it. The I basically see it as, like, if we take a metaphor of a house, okay, you are responsible for what happens within the boundaries of your property and your backyard. That's your domain, that you're the master of. And so when it comes to big life decisions, when it comes to how you want to be treated, what's okay and what's not okay in a relationship, and the lifestyle that, especially if you're going to be living or be married, with a woman, then you want to have the boundary set up. I mean, and that's, I guess, kind of a real general, easy way to put it. It's boundaries. You want to have your boundaries as a man, very clear, easily understood, and enforced when needed. So that's kind of um, how I see it. I think that's what works the best from my view of it so far. And it's again, things change and evolve all the time. So I could change some of that, but basically that I would say is how I would describe it.
I have a question for you in your therapy business. Do you think
Mhm.
that men are stay in relationships and just kind of tolerate it in silence? Do you find that that's been your experience?
Um, yeah, and for different reasons. Um, but so if you're talking about a man who happens to be religious, okay, really values marriage, a lot of times they won't feel like there is a way out, and it doesn't matter what the suffering is, what they've gone through. They will endure it because they feel like that is morally the right thing to do, and there's not a place where it's okay outside of infidelity or some extreme violence or some financial betrayal can be the extreme financial betrayal. But outside of that, there's men who have a real strong religious or ethical background that, for those reasons, will suffer in silence almost no matter what. And I think that the also too that again this goes back to society as reinforcement. That kind of like you were talking about your son, that he's supposed to do everything. You know,
Yeah.
he's supposed to pay the bills, do all the work, not complain, um,
Fix
provide
the
everything. And then if the woman wants to spend all the money, she wants to go out to the bars late at night with her girlfriends. um she, whatever it is, then she gets to, and you're supposed to just be okay with that. And you're being too authoritarian or patriarchal if you say no, I don't want that to be part of my my relationship, my experience. You're being mean, right? Or you're being sexist or something. You're a bigot, whatever. um so I think that, and then I think there are some men who are just, I'm sorry, but some men are just, they're just not engaged in their marriages. They're either lazy, or they don't care. Maybe they've given up already. um so there's just some men who are not, they're just not into, they're not trying very hard. And in those cases, women have a legitimate gripe, and they're hoping, like, the more they poke, the more they get angry, the more they, like, maybe even humiliate or embarrass a man, that he'll change and he'll start to be engaged and give a shit. But there's some men that just don't. I think they want a life that is very easy, where they don't do much, and the women just kind of, some guys want a woman to take care of them.
Right.
So
I kind
but
of call
they'll
that the
stand the issue. Yeah.
That's like the mommy syndrome where they just want someone to care for them.
Honesty.
You know
Yeah.
what? Green Journey said something very profound. In fact, I was going to poll the ladies in the audience this evening after you said that, because she mentioned that that's dangerous territory, though, especially, well, I don't know. I said she, and I don't know if the Green Journey is a she or a he, but that's dangerous territory, though, especially for a married woman, nightlife. And I have to tell you something, and this is just me personally.
Sure.
If I'm in a relationship with a man, I don't go out at night with my friends. I
Yeah.
don't go to the bars and go drinking, because we all know, as my son said on last Friday's show,
Yeah.
the reason that everybody's going to the bar and drinking is because they want to hook up or they want to get drunk.
Yeah.
They're not going there to go to Bible study. So, if we don't recognize that,
Yeah.
thank you so much, the Green Journey. If you don't recognize that and you're encouraging, you want to go out to the bars, you're
Right.
you're so technically in a committed relationship. What are you doing? So
Yeah.
and then in my mind, what I see is, well, that in and of itself is an infidelity of sorts, because
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
in a relationship with somebody, you're supposed to be committed, you're supposed to be taking care of them and loving them and doing all these things, but you want to go out with your girlfriends at night. And I'm going to tell you right now, there isn't a single woman in this chat right now or on the social media or on YouTube that doesn't know that when she goes out with her girls to the bar, she's getting dressed up. Okay.
Of course. Of
Putting
course.
on the heels, she's putting on the low cut blouse, she's putting on the jewelry and the perfume. And it's not because she's trying to entice her man. She's leaving him at home. So
Yeah.
I don't understand the mindset that thinks that type of behavior is acceptable. And
Right.
and this is just me. I could be wrong,
Yeah.
but I just
No,
don't, again, we're talking about fidelity to a relationship. And if you don't have that, then what do you have?
yeah, exactly. There's not much good happens at the bar late at night. Like, hey, if you want to go with your friend and you're going to be back at 9 o'clock, okay, sure, that makes sense. You're going to like have a meal or something.
Right.
But yeah, that kind of stuff. And it's not even about, I mean, it is about dressing up and looking pretty for of course, other people, other guys. But we all know outside of them, like, why are the guys there?
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
they're not there to play checkers. They're not, they're not there for, we get why they're there.
Green Journey, you're correct.
I have a question for you, Donna, that I'm really curious about, because
Sure.
I just been watching I'm really curious about how you have come to this place where you have the energy, the more feminine energy that you have, and like you're someone who as a woman is advocating for men to be men. Like, well, what has happened, or what made you in your life create the energy and the perspective that you do on this?
Very good question. I'll start it off with accountability. That's where all
Yeah.
this began, because when I split with my ex,
Mhm.
it was all his fault, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, because I had drank all the Kool-Aid of social media and all of the general anthems that are out there, I did not take accountability for my part. And
Mhm.
once I realized, you know what? It was really pretty simple. I'm the one who kind of effed it up.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, and I started to accept the fact that I was the one who made mistakes, and I'm not saying he was perfect. I mean, it was, but what I was doing was I was constantly saying, he did this and it's all him and blah, blah, blah. And, his son is probably listening right now. And if he is, I've told him this many times, your dad wasn't the only one at fault. I just made it seem that way, but that
Yeah.
wasn't the truth.
Yeah.
And so once I started taking accountability, it started just kind of coming in front of me more, where I was watching all of these men being sliced and diced and trashed and thrashed on social media. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking in my head going, but men are super simple.
Yeah.
Feed them, give them sexual intimacy, and leave them alone.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not complicated. But you know what? That accountability part is the part that opened my eyes.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, I was like, wow, I'm sending my kid the wrong message. You know what I mean? He's going to think that he's the one who's always wrong when he's not. And
Yeah.
so it made me,
That's right. That's right. That's a good insight you had.
I had to shift my perspective, and I have to remember that everything that I do is something that he is either watching or he's seeing me do. And this started when he was in his teen years. And I didn't do a good job. I'll be very frank with you. And he knows this because we've had these conversations many times. But it is at this point, when I see, for a while there, I was watching Fresh and Fit, and I was watching all these panel shows, that's a big L, loser. And,
Okay.
you bring all these women on between the ages of 18 and 35, and they have OnlyFans accounts, and they're not in committed relationships, but they want a 6-figure income with a 6-foot man with a 6-pack. And it's like, and I bring everything to the table, and I'm looking at her going, I'm sorry, but right now the table is empty. The only thing you are is a place setting. I don't even know that you're the fork and knife at this point.
Yeah.
That whole genre of just telling men that they were no good. And I was all of a sudden I just realized, I was like, okay, somebody needs to say something. And I'm a little bit older. Hello, Pedro. Thank you so much for being here. I'm a little bit older, and I was like, you know what? I'm a voice of reason. I'm going to put this shit out there and let people hear it. That's kind of how it started. And then,
so I have a question for you about, because this actually is I want to hear your answer to this, but the accountability part, is that something that for you, is it something you feel like you didn't have as in your life as far as the relationship stuff, and then once the switch flipped and you realize, oh, I don't have accountability, I need to do that? Or was it more like you did have accountability before the relationship, lost it, and then got it back at a certain point?
I never had it.
Okay.
And here's
so
why.
you actually learned it in the relationship and realizing while you're watching, all these shows and how men are being treated.
Well, because here's the thing. See, my ex and I were both brought up in the very close in the same generation. And in that generation, you kept your mouth shut, you kept a smile on your face, and you didn't talk about your problems. And so everything, even my own mother, bless her heart, God rest her soul, would put on a show. And it was, we would go out in public, and, they'd be fighting like cats and dogs in the house. And we'd go out in public and everything was like this. And it was all perfect. And we'd go to Sunday school in the Catholic church, and nothing was wrong with us. And we were perfect. No.
Yeah.
And so we were raised on that. And so bless his heart, my ex, he went with the same happy wife, happy life. He went with the same mentality. So he never held me accountable.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even, I wasn't even aware of it. And so
that you should even be aware of accountability at all. That was important.
And I'll tell you what, it is not an easy pill to swallow. So ladies, I'm just telling you right now, the moment that you take accountability for it and you speak about it, and and sometimes you even got to speak it to your ex and say, listen, it wasn't all you, and I'm sorry. And when you do that, it sort of frees you up a little bit to go, hey, okay, now all of a sudden the curtains have been pulled back, and now I can see everything for what it is. Hey, Ted, thank you for being here. Ted brought up the astronomer CEO as a man who's not on his mission, and now he's lost his wife. that whole thing, honestly, it's kind of sad because it felt like it was a little bit staged, and then the girl's friend was standing there laughing and it was just all kind of weird. And I just, at this point, it became a social media meme, and it just got blasted everywhere. And after a while today, I was like, I'm just going to turn X off because I can't, it was out there once. That's enough. Why are we beating the dead horse? These two people, their lives are now in the trash can. So are we just going to keep throwing them under the bus and throwing them under the bus? So I don't know. That kind of stuff.
It's not unreasonable to think too that this is a publicity stunt, and that is what, like, there's a lot of things you just have to question what's real, what's not. But yeah, it's sad. I mean, I don't know the story. I mean, maybe his wife was a bitch. Who knows? But
I mean, there's a whole backstory there that we don't know. And the whole, I'm laughing a little bit because CG2, I'm so glad to see you, girl. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I got some people here from another channel that are just what I consider friends of mine, acquaintances, as we call them. But no, my whole thing was they posted a picture of the HR lady, and then they posted a picture of the guy's wife. And I'm like, that's the girl from Real Housewives of what is it down in Southern California?
Orange
Irvine.
County.
It was like, that's the
Yeah.
Real Housewives wife. That's not even a real picture of the wife of the guy. So they're putting a
Oh,
picture,
yeah.
and I was like,
Yeah.
that's Terry Dubrow wife, Heather Dubrow. That's not even the wife of the guy. It was
Yeah.
just like the whole thing just sort of rang south
That's
with me. So.
yeah, it's weird. It's so weird. You just don't know what's true and what's not. So strange. Ted 1776 made an interesting comment. He said, "My father used to use the belt to bring accountability. Now parents cannot discipline their own children." And that's an interesting. What's interesting about that is, I think it highlights the extremes that we've gone to from. Yeah, they used to, maybe in your time childhood, there was a belt, maybe there was a switch, maybe you got beat up, like, fist fight. I got like a bar of soap put in my mouth when I was a kid.
I've been
uh
spanked,
and,
I've
and
been soaked, I've been
bang.
yelled at, I've been grounded.
Yeah, yeah. And nowadays that's like child abuse, right? So you can't do those things, but it's almost gone to the other extreme where you can't set boundaries or discipline at all, because they're going to go and they're going to go to the doctor, the therapist, and berate the parents, and I'm going to switch my genders and I don't have to tell you now. And it's like a lot of empowering children and adolescents who don't have fully developed brain yet. And parents, I understand what he's saying. There, a lot of times it feels like parents are handcuffed. They can't do much, and we're at the mercy of
Well, you may
we're
not know this, Brandon, but I am a school teacher in the public school system, and I teach fourth grade. I've been teaching for 14 years.
yeah,
And I was in a meeting last year. This lady doesn't know that I have a channel, so I know she's not watching, but I was in a meeting last year with administration, and I was told that if a student comes to me and tells me that they want to switch genders, I'm not allowed to tell the parents. And I looked at her and I said, well, maybe in your world. But see, in my world, where I work in truth and reality. And so in truth and reality, if I was a parent, I would want to know. And to withhold that
yeah,
information feels to me like you're being not only dishonest, but you're being harmful to that child who can't make a logical decision at 10 and 11 years old. I'm
yeah.
sorry, they just can't.
So say again, because I was reading a comment. What did they withhold? What information?
No, I'm just saying that that I was told that if a child comes to me, I teach fourth grade, so they're 10
Yeah.
years old,
Oh,
and they
okay.
tell me they want to switch genders, I'm not allowed to say anything to the parents.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's so
I just,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah, I think I think it's not only is
Um,
it inappropriate, it's not my place. I'm
you should
not,
come you should come to California.
I do teach in California, my friend.
Oh, you do? Okay. I thought you
Absolutely.
were in the South somewhere.
I am. I have a
Um,
house in Arkansas and I have a house in California. So I
oh,
live in,
okay. Gotcha.
I'm getting ready to
Yeah.
retire here. The
You
closer
you understand the struggle.
Absolutely, I understand the struggle. I've lived it for 14 years. And one of the things that, happy birthday, Pedro, happy early birthday. Oh no, you turned 31 on Monday. Got some birthday celebrations going on here in the chat. So that's pretty awesome.
Nice. That's awesome.
But I have, yeah, I'm very non-traditional when it comes to teaching. I hold students accountable. I hold their parents accountable. If I have a
Mhm.
parent that does not want to parent, I tell that
Mhm.
parent, well, either you parent them or they're going to have problems in my classroom, because I'm not going to do that. I don't have time for that. It's not my
Yeah.
job to be mom and dad. My job is to teach your child how to hold a pencil and write their name.
Yeah.
And, and if you want me to do more than that, then you're going to have to hire me as a nanny, because that's not what my job description says. The problem,
Yeah.
Sims who run Child Protective Services, you know, there have been three occasions in my career where I've had to call Child Protective Services for something that a child has told me. In all three cases, the charges were dismissed as unfounded.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
Yeah.
But if I don't report that, I will go to jail.
You will. Yeah. You'll have
It is a very double-edged sword in the state of California. Now, ironically, on the other side of this, here in Arkansas, they just passed a law statewide that there's called the what is it called? The no technology time from bell to bell. So from the time the school bell rings in the morning till the time that it rings in the afternoon, you are not allowed to have your cell phone.
I think that's beautiful.
It's a state law now. So it's like, there you go.
I mean, it's just common sense.
Yeah. Cell phones are definitely a bane of my existence. And, you would think that in fourth grade, it's not a thing, but it is. It's definitely a thing. Hey, I have another question for you. I wanted to ask you this and see what your thoughts are. You are married, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you have any children? I don't want to get too personal. You have 3 kids.
Yeah,
okay.
3 children. Yeah.
So you've built a family and this is a beautiful thing. And would you want I don't know if you have boys or girls, but it's irrelevant. Would you want your son or daughter to participate in the type of society for men that we see today?
You mean like the men, like the cuck version of men?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I don't. Well, it's kind of, in some ways, there's no choice to participate in society in some things, but no, I don't like it. And as far as, as much as I can as a parent and as a father, that I don't teach my kids. I have one really little one, so he's like 2, so that doesn't matter. But like my older one, no, I wouldn't teach him to be the way that society teaches men to be today. And for my I have a daughter too, and I wouldn't want her to be with a man like that either. You mentioned earlier that kind of that happy life, happy wife type of philosophy. And this, one of the things I appreciate about that is you don't come from that place. But I think there is a message from society that men's value is insignificant compared to women's. And in some way, men are just replaceable, like you just stick in another one, because you hear things like happy wife, happy life, or a guy is with, a girl and it's like, oh, well, you're the lucky guy. She's the better half. I think I emailed you this, and I don't know if you were able to read it, but I was at a Catholic mass a few weeks ago, and the priest starts out with an opening joke, whatever, thinks it's a joke, and he says, there's a husband and a wife, and the husband is telling his wife, honey, you just need to embrace your weaknesses. And then the wife like thinks about it for a second and then says, okay. And then she goes up to him and gives him a big hug.
Right.
And like, yeah, it's kind of funny, but at the same time, like, what is the message you're sending? Like, men are weak. Men are the weakness.
Blanche on his channel says it all the time. He says black men are weak. Not just black men, all men. Yeah. They are weak when it comes to standing up for what they believe in or holding their own, carrying their own, their own frame, so to speak. And frame, again, to me, is your non-negotiables. Yeah. Are you willing to stand by your non-negotiables and not cave because you want the the intimacy.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, there's a difference between men who are acting weak, but when you're sending the message that men are the weakness, that's different because that's outside of behavior and what men are doing or shouldn't do. That's saying, and basically that men are the weak ones, women are the better half. And so what point is there to listen to what men say? They're
Yeah.
replaceable. They're the ones that are idiots. And you see it like a lot of movies and TV shows, it's like the dumb guy, like it's like I always think of like the Al Bundy, like
Yeah.
he's a dumb guy who's working in a shoe store and like says dumb things, and he has, very low standard for himself, and he's just kind of a bumbling idiot, and like, well, this is like, oh, dad, you're just a dummy, like he
Yeah.
doesn't know anything, and
And like
so.
a hot wife and she's the brains and yeah.
Right. She can have a career and she can juggle kids and she can be the leader of the PTA at school, and she, can be the soccer mom on the weekends and do all, like, okay, they can just do everything. They're like super people.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not realistic.
No, it's not.
And it doesn't send and it sends the message to women. What does it say? Like, well, I guess I'm the one with all the value here, and the dumb men just need to figure out, like, hey, you can understand my feelings, and feeds into that lack of accountability that you were talking about too, because they think that they're entitled to that.
Exactly.
Well,
Oh,
that's
entitlement,
you know,
huge issue. I think once you take accountability for your participation, your bad behavior, your
yeah,
entitlement sort of goes out the window. When you feel like you can't do any wrong and you're entitled to this and I deserve this and I deserve that,
yeah,
you're in your own head believing the lie and you're not seeing it for what it really is. And that is, I think one of the biggest things that I have noticed about society today is just not living in reality.
yeah,
You're not really looking at things the way that they really are. You're looking at them the way you fantasize about it in your brain. And this goes for men in relationships, especially the ones where men have, either recently broken up or going through a divorce.
yeah,
Their brain is wired for happiness, so they keep thinking and reliving all the good times. And the
yeah,
problem is, you know basically the girl that you fell in love with, because guys fall in love kind of quick, I would say in the first couple weeks or so, that girl has left the building. She's taken off her fancy dress, and now you're seeing her for what she really is. And is this the
right,
person that you can really be with and build a relationship with? And so when men are going through that breakup, I feel like they keep hoping that that person is going to come back. And unfortunately, she has left. She's not coming back. Thank you, George, for being here tonight. I appreciate that. Thank you so
yeah,
much for suggesting that. I always forget to say that. Please hit
yeah.
the like button and the subscribe
What's up?
button, especially if you're here from Brandon's channel. Brandon, I am so
Mhm.
grateful that you came tonight. We are coming up on the end of our hour here. And I just want to give you a moment to please plug all of your stuff. Tell everybody where they can find you, and then we will wrap it up from there.
Okay, sounds good. Well, first let me say what's up to George, because I follow him on X. I like a lot of his stuff. So what's up, man? I most of the stuff I put out is on X and some on YouTube too at Free Brandon 7. And I'm kind of eclectic, I touch on a lot of different areas. Being a therapist, you really have to deal with a myriad of people and issues. So I kind of touch on a lot of different things. But yeah, if you want to follow me on X at FreeBrandon7 or YouTube, see the videos at FreeBrandon7. That is me. And I was very, thank you for having me. And it was really an interesting conversation. I knew it would be. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for being here. And again, I want to thank everybody that's out in the audience.
But
Brandon, I was
let's do it again too. Like,
Oh,
let's do it again.
absolutely. Yeah, I would
Yeah.
love to. You know what? I'm going to be back in California starting next week. I got to go back to work, unfortunately. So we'll be on the same time zone then. And I know where exactly are you in California? North, south?
I'm in South. I'm in like Orange County area.
Okay. All right. So you're about 2.5 hours from me. I'm in the high desert. So, yeah, we'll definitely figure out a way for us to collab again. This was fun and come with some more content and some other topics that we
Yeah.
know our listeners want to hear about. So, once again, thank you so much for being here, Brandon. You have a great night. Okay.
Thank you. Appreciate it. You too.
All right. Talk
Bye,
to you later. All right. Well, I think that was a fabulous guest. Brandon did, I mean, he's amazingly very, very nice person. I like his ideas and the things that he brings to the table. And those of you that were here tonight, I'm pretty excited. We got up to 19 people in the chat tonight. So thank you. That's a record. I had 19 people in the audience. That hardly, that has never happened. So that's a record. I appreciate you guys for being here. It was great to see people here from other channels. I want to promote some of the other channels. Please go to Listen My Son if you haven't already, and like and subscribe George Bruno's channel. Also, you can go to He Is Blanchard on YouTube and like and subscribe. He gives a lot of the same content that we do here. A lot of the same things. You have the Tommy Stiggs Social Club. I have a lot of his people here tonight. Thank you so much for being here, everybody. I greatly appreciate you. And I don't think I'm forgetting anybody, but let me go back, scroll through and make sure I didn't forget anybody's channel. I think I've got everybody in here. One more that I want to plug real quickly, because he's been emailing me back and forth and we've been talking, is Outdoors Unsupervised, Brandon Clark. He also has a fabulous camping channel. So for those of you that have that little camping fetish like I do when you're trying to download at the end of the day, that's a really fun channel to watch. So again, Outdoors Unsupervised. Thank you guys so much for being here. Happy birthday, Ted. Happy birthday, Pedro. I'm so glad that you guys were here to share your birthday celebration with me tonight. And next week is going to be, I'm not sure what next week's going to hold. I'm working on a guest right now who is the Man Mindset. I don't know if you guys know that channel. If you don't, you might want to go check him out. He is fabulous and he is sharp as a tack. So I'm trying to get him on, so that'll be a good one. Otherwise, thank you all for being here. I know you got thousands of things that you could be doing on a Friday evening, and you made a decision to be here with me this evening, and I greatly appreciate it. Thanks for being here. Thank you all of my moderators for being here this evening. I appreciate you so much, and I will see you next Friday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Bye, everybody.